Hi, I'm Glenn Simpson, and I've collected comics for over 40 years, and I'm showing off my collection one box at a time. Today, we're looking at box number 67. We're going to start off with Forever Evil. We're going to go through some For, some Free, some Freedom, some Further, and end up with some Fury. So, thanks so much for being here. I hope that you will like the video. I hope that you will subscribe to the channel. I hope that you will comment on the channel. If there's anything inside these packs that you'd like to see, be sure to comment and let me know, and I'll put something together just for you. So in the meantime, let's get going with box 67. All right, as mentioned, we are starting with Forever Evil, the big New 52 crossover with all the villains teaming up and stuff. So that's issue 1, and it ran through issue 7. It eventually involved the crime syndicate from Earth 3, and they didn't get along with the main villains, and there was just all kinds of stuff. Villains have a hard time working together. What can I say? Let's see. We got as part of that, there was a one-shot, Forever Evil Aftermath, Batman versus Bane. Bane starts dressing up as Batman. I forget why, but Batman doesn't appreciate it. There were some other tie-in miniseries. We've got Forever Evil Argus with Steve Trevor and the team that he's managing there. They're fighting the Superwoman from Earth 3. There, issue 6. Got Forever Evil Arkham War. The villains from Arkham banding together, fighting each other. I don't know. It's been a while, but dadgum man-bats. I guess, once Morrison established that there's, an army of man-bats, then you can just throw a man-bat in anything. That's issue 1 through issue 6 with the aforementioned Bane Batman. Batbane. Bane Man. Battle Bane. Forever Evil Rogues Rebellion, another rogue focused miniseries. This was during the New 52 when they started to get their own superpowers. So instead of Captain Cold having his gun, he actually could shoot cold, and Heatwave could shoot heat, and blah blah blah. They would eventually go back to the normal sort of stuff. That's issue 1 through issue 6. Grodd messing everything up for everybody because he's Grodd. That's what he does. We've got Forever People. So this is the second Forever People series. It's just a mini series, kind of bringing the concept back in the late 80s. J.M. DeMatteis, Paris Cullens, bringing them back. They are all kind of, it's like they forgot who they were and were living regular lives, and then they suddenly remember kind of things. That's issue 1 through issue 6 right there. Got formerly known as the Justice League. So just one of those, just a return to the Bwahaha, Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis Justice League, Kevin Maguire. I mean, literally the whole team, as it were, back together. Throwing in, some other folks, Ms. Marvel, or Mary Marvel, taking the place of Cap Marvel. And just a big bunch of silliness right there. And I can't remember if this takes place in the past, because Is this in the past or before Identity Crisis? Now I don't remember. I just was drawing a blank on that. But anyway, ends in issue 6 right there. I mean, they're formerly known, so it can't be taking place in the past. Anywho, got a few of these 4-star spectacular, just reprint books right there. 4-star spectacular, kind of trying out the giant format, if I understand correctly, and just reprinting various old series, including some Golden Age stuff, issue 1 through issue 3 right there. Was a great source for people to get old stories. Issue 4 right there. Sometimes it was only 3 stories. The 4 people is what might have been a bit of a stretch, but right there, issue 5, and then a book that has gone up in value lately, issue 6, because it has this reprint of a Superboy and Crypto story, and this, Superboy and Crypto cover right here, I guess, is what's driving that up with the Superman movie. Let's see. This might be the first one of... No, it's not the first one we run into, but gallery issue, just a bunch of Jack Kirby's Fourth World gallery. It's filed under 4th, and it's just a bunch of pinups and stuff there, none of which are by Jack Kirby. 4001 AD, kind of a Valiant future thing. My stepson used to get Loot Crate, and so I kind of, when he came into my life, he kind of gave me all the Loot Crate comics that he had gathered. So that's just the only reason I have that. Foxfire. So I gathered this as part of just sort of the Malibu Marvel crossover-y stuff, and I've ended up with a couple of different variants, I think. I haven't opened them up to make sure, but here's one, Foxfire #1 right here. I'm not saying I didn't read it, I'm just saying I don't remember. There's another Foxfire #1. First one was by Steve Lytle. This one by Glenn Fabry. And this one just is in the pack with through issue #4. Got the Punisher guest starring there. Then we get to Frankenstein, Agent of Shade. So this was one of the New 52 series. Like all of them, after about a year, they got, the one that lasted a year, they got a 0 issue. And so we have, numerically speaking, this one would come first. That. Then the actual issue 1 with the Bride. Of course, we'd seen some of these characters in that Flashpoint series that we saw on a previous video. So there's not any like first appearances here, but there's the issue 1 through issue 8. There, Shade being another one of those spy underground operations. This one focusing on monstrous agents. Issue 9 right there. through, and it ended with issue 16 right there. Then we have Fred Hembeck destroys the Marvel Universe. So Fred Hembeck was a fan, and he wrote in, instead of writing letters, he would send in these little cartoons drawn in his very, very unique style, commenting on stuff. And eventually he ended up in some fanzines, and then they got a regular strip in the Daily Planet things that were on the back of some of the dollar books, and he's just kind of weaved his way around and stayed in fandom, and at one point he got a couple of special issues, one of them being Fred Hembeck Destroys the Marvel Universe. Another one being Fred Hembeck Sells the Marvel Universe. So lots of gags, lots of silliness there, lots of jocularity. Alright, so now we get into Free Comic Book Day. And I recently just had to kind of reorganize these because it's really hard to find, if you're looking for a particular Free Comic Book Day book, because they're all one-shots, and what it says on the cover may not match what it says in the indicia, which may or may not be how your CLZ or your organizing software has it. So these are just kind of generally put together, and with the things happening with Diamond that have been happening, I don't know what the future of Free Comic Book Day will be, but here's a smattering of Free Comic Book Day issues. So we got the recent Absolute Power Free Comic Book Day issue. We've got Astounding Wolfman #1 from Free Comic Book Day. This is probably the time when you'll see the most other publishers from me as well, because I'll grab lots of stuff just to see what other publishers are like, because it's literally free. Avengers Free Comic Book Day. All new, all different Avengers Free Comic Book Day. Oops. We've got some more Avengers there. Got a Bob's Burgers from Dynamite. Love Bob's Burgers. Love to have that. Got this one, which is apparently Boom Studios, from one of their years. Critical Role, 99 Origins. There. Dark Crisis, a couple of years ago. There. DC Kids, undersized. There. Another undersized one, Dear Justice League. There. And I've got some of the Doctor Who. There. I used to have them clustered bagged up by year, which sounds perfectly logical till again you go looking for one and then you can't find it. Doctor Who, the 13th Doctor, Green Hornet. There. Green Lantern. There. And a Hellboy. Stranger Things. There. Hulk Agents of Smash cartoon tie-in. Here. Justice League Unlimited. There. Kaiser Soze. And the Rift. Marvel Adventures. Iron Man, Hulk, and Spider-Man. I think this one is technically titled like Marvel Gold of the Avengers or something like that, so that's why it's not in with the other Avengers. That Avengers book, and it just worked out that we've got this Stanley Tucci, not Stanley Tucci, that's the actor. I can remember this Tucci's name. But we've got this Overstreet Guide to Collecting from 2019. Whoa! Godly jeepers. And the Overstreet Guide to Collecting Comics for 2021. There. Got Shadow Man. There. Got a few that I left them unbagged because they were like cool looking. Got this Amazing Spider-Man, but it was filed under Spider-Man, or it's named Spider-Man. Got this Spider-Man and Venom. There's several Spider-Man and Venom. I guess they would just put them together. Another Spider-Man and Venom. Another Spider-Man. And get back to the packs. We got one more Spider-Man. In with a Star Wars and Serenity from Dark Horse. And then we've got another Star Wars. And then we got a Superman, War of the Superman. We got this recent Superman's Good Guy Gang one shot. Free comic book day. We got one from The Boys for Herogasm. And for the New 52. Back when that was first launched. Got a one-shot thing for promoting the Under the Moon Catwoman book. That's something trying to bring back Valiant. There. Got a very manga looking thing relating to Witch and Wizard by James Patterson. Got another mini-sized, smaller sized book. Wolverine, Origin of an X-Man. And alphabetically speaking, at the end, we've got this Young Justice Batman Super Sampler. Let's see, so now we get back into regular books. So from the well, late 70s, we have the Freedom Fighters. So DC buys the characters that were previously published by Quality Comics, and then they publish one of the JLA crossovers. The JLA and the JSA go and visit Earth X, which is a world where World War II never ended, and the Quality heroes, or a smattering of them, are still living there, fighting the war, and they help them end the war. So then the Freedom Fighters come to Earth 1, the main Earth, and try to find lives there and get all caught up in various things. And apparently you don't really need a Social Security card to accomplish anything in the DC universe. So anyway, Freedom Fighters number 1. Got Wonder Woman guest starring in Freedom Fighters number 4. And it apparently doesn't go so well for her as Wonder Woman dies. It's too bad. She's never seen again. Not really. Issue 5. Issue 8. So they did a little fun crossover-y thing. So DC is doing Freedom Fighters, which are heroes not in World War II, but who are tied to World War II. Meanwhile, Marvel is doing Invaders, which is their heroes of World War II. So each created a sort of a mock-up of the other's characters, so that you could have kind of a little team up. So this month, the Freedom Fighters are going up against this Captain America clone, and the Human Torch and Toro and Submariner. Not really, but just copies of them. And over in Invaders, as we'll see later, a version of the heroes of the Freedom Fighters will be turning up in Invaders. So still got some more of that right there. Very patriotic hero or villain or whatever he is. Oops. Freedom Fighters bringing back Firebrand and his somewhat translucent shirt before Dollman, who's bound up in a chair there, can get hurt. With perspective, is Dollman in a little tiny chair, or is he back to full size? Inquiring minds want to know. Issue with a bad cut. It's hard to tell. Look at the previous one. What did I say? 12. So this must be 13. Issue 13. Firebrand and his somewhat see-through shirt on the run from the Freedom Fighters who've been affected by something making them into monsters. And the final issue is issue 15. Right there. This is a victim, again, of the DC implosion, if I'm not mistaken. They tried to have, I think the Ray was going to get a solo series, or he had a solo story or two somewhere to turn up. But there you go with the Freedom Fighters, the original Freedom Fighters. The concept would be brought back in several cases. We got this one right here, Staz Johnson, Jimmy Palmiotti, we got Uncle Sam bringing together some already existing characters who had already taken over some of the names, like a new Ray and new Phantom Lady and new Black Condor, and getting the band together again. That one ran through issue 9 with various other new versions of quality heroes being created along the way. Then they had another series here. There you go. Which ran through issue 8. Diddy, Barrows. Oh, wait, that just happens to be through issue 8. And we have issue 9, which, of course, Plastic Man is originally a Quality Comics character as well. So he technically should be all up in this. And so now at some point somebody figured that out, and so now he gets lumped in with them sometimes. 12. This new version of the Freedom Fighters, Finding Victory. There's also some Uncle Sam in the Freedom Fighters series that we will see when we get to the U's. Alright, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. What did this take the place of? This I think took the place of Spectacular Spider-Man. You know, I know that it seems like there's a bazillion different Spider-Man books, but usually there's, you know, sometimes one ends and then another one starts. This was part of the other storyline that was really weird, but it ended up with, I think, Spider-Man getting some organic web shooters there for a while. There's a lot of hubbub over that. Peter David, rest in peace. Mike Wieringo, rest in peace. Dang. Doing those stories. Got Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 6. Right there. He's in his Iron Spider suit from Civil War. Continuing the Civil War tie-ins there. That issue, 7? And then issue 12. Got the whole Spider-Man Unmasked, because in Spider-Man in Civil War, he reveals his real identity to the world. Went really well. Got Spider-Man and go up against Mysterio some more. Issue 13. Against the Vulture in 16. There. Sandman and 17. Todd Knock, the artwork, and then this whole thing jumps to issue 24. This is a variant cover, and it's all a part of One More Day. So we're getting into Peter Parker making his deal with Mephisto to save Aunt May's life at the expense of his marriage, and make everybody forget, well, save Aunt May and make everybody forget he's Peter Parker at the expense of his marriage. So that's that. And that one had an annual kind of looking at something to do with with Harry Osborn as a kid, I think. And the Sandman. No, with Sandman as a kid. Because Sandman also has the weird cornrowy things. So, I don't know. Been a while. Then there's been another Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series. Came out about the time that Stan Lee had passed away. Issue 1. Through issue 6 with the impish spider bite, I guess. Right there. And 7 up against the Prowler. And that one ends with issue 14. Yes, it does. And then we get into From the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives. So this is a mini-series from a couple of years ago, basically saying what would have it been like if Jason Todd had not been killed, and how would things have gone. And that runs through issue 4. Further Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix. This is a sequel to Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, which is a story in which Cyclops and Phoenix project their minds into the bodies of some people in the future and so they helped to raise Cyclops' son, who would go on to become Cable, in a future that has lots of bad stuff that they're trying to protect against. So we got Mr. Sinister there in issue 1. This runs through issue 4 right there. John Paul Leon. Rest in peace. Sorry. It keeps occurring to me. Here's a series I don't have a lot of. Just I kind of wound up with some of these Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. I like Indiana Jones, but there's just some things that, like, you know, some things just work better for me in live action, you know, and I don't really get the appeal when they're not. But that's issue 1 of Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. Issue 2, right there. John Byrne cover, I believe, or was that another? This one was Terry Austin, so Terry Austin's kind of hard to tell. Got issue 23, so we jumped to 23. There. And I've got through 26. Budiansky and Sienkiewicz doing that artwork there. Next, we've got a really interesting cover. Just Fury. And I don't know, it's a painted cover, but I don't know who he looks like, but I'm not sure. And I guess his eyes are, seems to me like, oh wait, sorry. Seems like his eye is like, anyway, they're just off a little. But anywho, one shot about Nick Fury. You know, sometimes you get a Nick Fury story in something named Fury, and sometimes you get it in something named Nick, and sometimes you get it in something named Shield, and sometimes you get it in something named Agents of Shield. So it's he's all over the place. And then another one shot called Fury, which this time is celebrating the son of Nick Fury, of original Nick Fury, and somewhat both of them, I imagine, as I recall. And there, then we've got Fury and Agent 13. So that's Sharon Carter, of course, Steve Rogers, modern day girly friend, issue 1 and issue 2, this only 2-issue series right there. I think he was thought they'd killed him off for a while. That's why it's the startling secret of Nick Fury's return. And then we get to Fury of Firestorm. So Firestorm, to review, had his first series. That lasted 5 issues because of the DC implosion. Then he ran in the back of Flash for a while. And then they brought him back into his own series here in Fury of Firestorm. And this will run for a while, and then it will change its title to Firestorm, which is what we saw back in a previous video. So we got Pat Broderick doing art, Gary Conway doing writing, if I remember correctly. Just awesome stuff. Issue 1 through issue 4. Firestorm gets to join the Justice League. Not the Teen Titans, even though he's a teen. I guess if you average his age, Ronnie's age, and Martin's age, you get a grown-ass man. But we've got Killer Frost there. Of course, in Firestorm's book, he saves the entire Justice League. That's what you do when it's your book. Firestorm against the Pied Piper. It's always funny to see the Pied Piper because he, would go on and after the crisis, and he would become a friend to Wally West, and it would he was always misunderstood, and he wasn't really a bad guy this whole time, but in the actual appearances in the previous, he's like So issue 5, issue 8, Typhoon, whom we saw, I believe, in one of the met for the first time in one of the Flash backups. Got issue 9 there, and issue 13. Firestorm gets bitten by the hyena, and apparently the hyena is catching. There. Let's see, and we've got issue 14. I'm sure that 13-year-old me could have told you exactly what that person's name is, but that bit of information has left me. Let's see, it's 14, issue 18. I believe it was Tokamak, or Tokamak. I don't know. That always seemed a weird name. It sounds like Native American or something, but apparently it has something to do with atomic energy. I've never gotten around to looking that up. Comment if you can explain that. That's issue 18, and that is all for this box. Okay, so that was box 67. Next time we'll do box 68. We'll pick up with some more Fury of Firestorm. We'll get into the G's. We'll do some Gambit and some various things, and end up not quite into Generation X, but into some other things that are alphabetically before Generation X. So I hope you'll be here. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.